Hello everyone and welcome to Daria Draws. Today the video is going to focus mainly on showing you how inanimate objects can tell stories and give personality and just convey the overall atmosphere of the person who owns them and who uses them. So for my painting I have chosen shoes just because I like the pun that you can't fit into another person's shoe. So there was a little bit of that going on in the painting as well, and just because I overall like painting shoes that I own, especially like when they get a little worn out and you can see all the textures. That is really fun as well. So let's just get to painting and I will, as always, walk you through the process. I really like the coral bright color of the shoe and I think it will look really nice against a calmer, colder background. I knew I wanted the background to be a little bit colder and calmer than the actual shoe, but I wasn't exactly sure what color I wanted. So I just pre-toned it with blue because I thought it would be kind of a universal solution for the time being. And I just left that part for improvisation and started sketching the shoes. I always find it easier to first establish certain margins just by marking them with a little point for me to see, just to kind of have a composition that I really want and not just the one that happened by accident. I'm using a mixture of blue and a little bit of brown and just to sketch out and make sure I have all of the main shadows in place, so that when I'm starting to use the color it's a little bit easier to navigate throughout the whole painting. Even though this painting is supposed to look very easy breezy, I'm still layering, and of course I'm starting with darker shades as always. So in this case it is going to be like burgundy dark brown, and it is going to get lighter with every session where I will be adding more light, but for now I'm just putting on like the basic color that is a little bit darker than it should be. To be honest, I'm not a fan of this choice for the background, and that's why I'm going to change it later on. But I do think that this ugly layer adds a certain depth to the background, so actually when I will change the color of the background, it's kind of like this one actually helped. Art works in mysterious ways sometimes for me as well. So once the main colors are in place, I'm just redefining the shoes a little bit with that darker color that I used for sketching them. And as I've previously mentioned, each layer is going to get lighter and add more vibrance to the painting. So the main light part of the shoe is becoming that brighter coral color. So yeah, that's just what I'm doing, and blending it a little bit with the shadow so it looks cohesive. Finally, I realized that purple is the way to go, and it has a little bit of a connection to the other shoe painting that you're going to see very soon. So I think that this kind of peri-peri sort of color is complementing the red just because it is so much cooler, but at the same time it has a little bit of that colder pink in the mix, so it's not too far off at the same time. And I think that the previous layers of the background are kind of peeking through a little bit, and I don't know, everything is just coming together the way I saw it in my head. Of course, I'm also adding this lavender pink, like purple shade into the shoes as well, especially from the shadowy part, and normally like any crevices that I would see, so that the shoes are also tied to the background, but that purple has a purpose in the shoe, so it's not just random placement. The brown part, like the inside of the sole, is also quite important because that's where you can see all those little crevices where your foot naturally bends. So those parts also get kind of like cracks in time. And I wanted to show that movement that, you know, that the foot makes, and then that is kind of imprinted in the shoe itself. Of course, I had to add some glaze once the painting dried up. I feel like it just unites the whole color palette just because you kind of mute all those bits that scream out. And yeah, that's what I really like to add to the shadow bits and just to anything that really stands out, not in a good way. Now, just like the outer part of the shoe, the inner has the warm and cool as well. So there is also a little bit of that lavender and a little bit of that coral as well. So it's not just pure brown, it's never just one pure color. I always like to mix, even if it's not, you know, a direct reflection, it is going to be mixed in with the main color of that object so that it has just a hint of that reflection. Now, the last session was mainly dedicated to the edges because when I started working, I directly did mostly sharp edges, which I normally don't do. But I decided to just challenge myself a little bit. But then I decided that I needed to soften them up, especially in the parts that are kind of far away. So the closest part of the shoe would be a little bit more sharp. There would be more contrast with the background. And then as the shoe kind of goes further away from the viewer, it should be a little bit more blurred out and a bit softer. So that's what I did. And those were the last things that I wanted to do. And here's the end result. I had a lot of fun actually painting this piece. I think it's very lively, it's very bright, very just easy to look at for a long period of time, which is, I guess, a very good quality for a painting if you're going to hang it somewhere. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, comment it, share it. That helps the channel grow, and subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more content from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.